to ring the bell, we're going to line up and make our way into the temple. Tonight's theme is creating your culture to create yourself and create your life. So let's head on in, and as you bow to enter the temple, or if you're there on the live stream, I just invite you to just make this time special. Dedicating this time to you, to your best self, to those you care about. Make entering this temple a meditative time. Breathe slow, think of peace, find your inner strength, find what's important to you.
It's no wonder they were in the other one. There's a bunch of people that should be coming here from the other instance. Are they? Yeah, they're coming. People definitely need meditation today.
Can I just walk?
Who the fuck is trying to open the door?
Can I
Like,
just walk?
oh,
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can just
I guess.
take
people,
a seat
I'm
and
grateful to
sit
be
in it
here.
if
Now I'm gonna
you
take a
want.
seat.
All it really involves is just observing, you know? So actually, in a sense, it is watching. You're just watching your breath.
I just walked in. Should I have done that?
People are doing that if
Um.
they want to, just to think about this time. It's a special time for you. But for now, we can all just grab a seat, and we're going to begin with our intention setting for the session. All right, so welcome everybody. So we're just going to start by thinking about what are you going to do with this time? Why are you here? I just overheard some people not really sure what meditation is. Maybe you're here to learn to meditate. Maybe you have no idea what meditation is, and I don't care if you learn to meditate. Maybe you're here to learn to be happier or stronger or more confident. Just let those ideas sink in for a moment. Take a deep, strong breath. But setting the intention, maybe think a little bit bigger. Maybe you want to be kinder so that you can make your friends and family happier. Maybe you want to be wiser, that you can bring peace and wisdom to the people around you. Maybe you're going to make some decisions today that could change the rest of your life. So just really bring some inner oomph, some dedication, some intention that as I'm talking or as we're talking, you're going to make the most of it. You'll ask the questions that will make it great for you. You'll think about the ideas in a way that's awesome for you. All right, and then I just invite us all to take a seat. Oh, I'm just going to line up my seat. There we go. So, our topic for tonight is shaping our culture to shape ourselves. Some of you are regulars, some of you are new, so I'll try and pitch it in a way that's helpful for everybody. So, this idea of shaping our culture, shaping how we live, has anyone ever thought about any ideas like that before? Can you just wave if you've ever thought about something like that? A few of you. Cool. And anyone on the live stream, I'll be checking the live stream chat at any time I think of it, so feel free to ask questions or make comments too, and hopefully I'll see them. All right, so what do I mean by thinking about our culture? When you think about your friends, your family, how do you guys treat each other? Is there lots of laughter? Is there lots of kindness? Are there mean jokes? Are there games? Are there songs? All these different ways that you are with people, that not only guides what you do all the time, but it also guides how you feel and how things develop. For example, if there's a group of people and they're kind of critical of each other, possibly they can do it in a way with lots of humor that might bond them, might toughen each other up in a way that's warm and kind. But more than likely, if there's a group of people that are critical of each other, it's not going to be a very enjoyable environment. And that group of people may not stay friends, or they may not become a place that gets happier and happier. Whereas you contrast that to a place where people are intentionally being kind and helpful, like the culture we're trying to create here. And I hope that here we create friendships where we really feel that the other people are thinking about you and caring about you and trying to be helpful. But I want to take that idea a little broader, not just in terms of how we treat each other, but also in the things that we do. Here we are sitting in a temple. That kind of creates an atmosphere, maybe for you, of meditating or thinking about peace or impact, or maybe it just reminds you to notice your mind. Maybe a temple means something completely different to you. But the context of the culture we're in does something for us. In these sessions, we'll have discussion and we have some meditation. In some groups, they would do some singing. In some groups, they do some dancing. And the kind of activities that each group does really shapes the...
Can we
yeah, if you've got a question, put your hand up and I'll ask. But yeah, so the things that each group does really shapes, like, not just how fun it is or how you feel, but also the long-term impact on the people. So a group that has talks about positive thinking and meditations, I guess you could think most people will become more empowered and more aware, whereas a group that talks about some topic, they'll get better at that topic. So really thinking about what's the cultures that you want in your life. What do you want to get great at? Now, the reason I'm sharing this is actually really personal. I have had times in my life where the culture I chose was to be devoted to being the most amazing mind I could be. Every day I'd practice happiness, I'd practice peace, I'd practice brain training hacks to improve my memory, or to speed read, or to get better at science and rationality, all these different things to make my mind better. And I realized just recently with my family, I have been trying to get us to do some of these things, but the other people just saw them as just random activities that I kind of wanted now and then. But actually, I wanted our family to be about enlightenment. And I said that to them, and they're like, oh, okay, that's a perspective we hadn't seen. So my topic for today, for all of you, is I want you to think about yourself being about something awesome. Is that enlightenment, empowering your mind? Or do you want to think of yourself as someone who creates kindness everywhere, or helps people laugh, or makes people more sporty and fun? So that's kind of the theme for today. We're going to do some meditation, we're going to do some positive thinking, but I want you to be thinking, like, how do you want to carry that into your life, and how do you want to talk about it with your friends and family to make your culture? Weld, you've got a question or a comment?
So, does meditation relieve stress?
That's a great question. Most of the time, meditation helps with stress, absolutely. Meditation's a pretty broad word. It's kind of like saying, does music help with stress? Like, a lot of it does, but there's stressful music that might stress you out as well. So there's a lot of meditations that are really nice for relaxing, that are really nice for making peace. There's a lot of meditations that will help you see what you're thinking and release the stressful parts of it. There's loads of meditations that help with stress. Yes. But there are also meditations, not the kinds that I'd suggest, but there are also kinds where people will focus on the stress. Sometimes it's helpful. Sometimes people are more stressed. So yeah, meditation's an art form. And I guess my intention with these sessions is to try and help you guys pick the coolest ways to use your mind and the things that are the most helpful. Yeah, and well, thank you for the question. And everybody, any questions you have, please raise your hand. I want this to be like super interactive. Cool. It's nice to see so many of you here.
Yeah.
I'm
Viking?
not new to meditation, but for the people that are new to meditation, can you explain the general process that people do for meditating, how they meditate?
That's a great question. Now, some schools will say, hey, this is what meditation is. And then another school will actually say it's something else. And then I've seen these schools kind of like argue with each other. No, this is real meditation or that's real meditation. So for me, having been in a lot of places, the only thing I can really say meditation is like intentionally doing something that might be like singing positive songs. It might be breathing. It might be thinking about love and kindness. So to answer your question, like what's the practice, is I can tell you about some of the kinds of meditations. So
Could you tell us Zen meditation?
Sure.
Could you tell us Zen meditation, please?
Yeah, I've been to a few different Zen centers and Zen schools and seen some variations. So I'll tell you what comes to my mind when I think of those different kinds. So if everybody just watches their mind for a moment, maybe you're looking at me, maybe you're thinking about Viking's question, maybe you're thinking about what I just said. So if you notice your mind, like there's all this stuff going on inside of you. And so one form of meditation is to actually be able to get very good at being aware of what's going on in your mind. And this practice of Zen meditation is to focus on your breathing and just let that capture your attention. And then, Fox, as I describe it, try to just go with me for a minute and I'll come to your question after.
Right.
So if everybody just feels their breath for a minute. And some of you are just totally feeling the breath, but some of you are still thinking about other things. So as you notice your mind do other things, you try to concentrate on the breath more. Feel the breath, hear the breath. And you could imagine as you just keep focusing on that single point, bit by bit, you bring every part of your mind all the images, all the words, all the sounds, all the feelings, everything is just unified into the breathing. And there's this peace that happens when we do that. And there's this strength that we feel when we do that. And then as all the other activity in the mind calms, you get to this place where you just have this clarity, this spaciousness. Like you can think of some time where someone's like caught up in something or stressed up in something. You can see my voice just went all rah. And then you can compare it to sometime when you're just having fun and it's easy. Like there's that difference in the state of mind. And so you could think of going into this clarity meditation, it's like this ease and this wow that's just super big, profound and beautiful. And magically another thing happens. Not only do you get this wow, peace and stillness, you get to like learn this beautiful calm. But also, each time you notice, oh, there's the part of me that was thinking about that. I'll let that go and I'll breathe. Then, oh, there's my visual imagination. Okay, I'm just going to see the breath. Every time you do that, you learn to navigate your mind better. You learn to be the master of your own consciousness because you've been watching it all. And yeah, your focus is just on the breath, but every moment of it, you're getting more and more amazing at how you guide your attention, how you guide your consciousness.
That's definitely a good point.
Thanks, Tess.
You're welcome.
You might have noticed when Viking asked about Zen meditation, I prefaced it with, well, there's different schools and there's different types. The emphasis I put on that might have been very different to a different teacher. And I've seen that when people sit and just breathe, if they do it with one emphasis or intention, they'll actually practice different things inside than if they're doing it with another intention. So I've found the most empowering, helpful things is to be the master of your consciousness, that you can fully and completely choose where your attention goes, and learning this beautiful, profound peace, wonderful, good feeling at your core. All the noise, all the different feelings and stuff that happens day to day, inside yourself is this super awesome feeling that bit by bit, everything else just becomes this super awesome feeling. And like that's the foundation. You can still be excited, happy, peaceful, caring, confident. You still have a whole spectrum of emotion, but it all gets more beautiful. So yeah, that's one form of meditation. Then there's also kindness meditation, where perhaps you do some breathing meditation or some relaxation technique, and then you just think about all the people you care about and feel the caring and kindness just get better and better. And if you do that every day, you'll find in a couple of weeks that you have become a massively more patient and brave and loving person. And then there's also laughter meditation, where you just explore getting happier and happier. There's also relaxation meditations, where you actively relax each part of your body and just train your physical body to be super calm. And then that also makes your mind and emotions feel really peaceful. So, Fox, you have a question? Yes, please.
So I know how you said that, like,
there's different type of meditations. What kind of meditation are we going to be doing?
Well, actually, my theme for today was to think about what's the culture that we're going to be taking into our life. And I was going to kind of ad-lib it, seeing the questions you guys ask, and the meditation we'll practice today will be one of my favorites, guided by what seems to be most alive from what I've said and from what you guys ask for. And then, so this question of like, what's our culture? I'm going to describe the culture I would like to have for myself. And then I invite you just to imagine your own. And then as we go through this session, perhaps you could request one of the meditations or two that really stand out to you. Or maybe we'll keep talking and we'll just see which ones really captivate us. But yeah, for myself, I definitely want to be like aware of where I put my attention and how I think, and always choose, how am I going to feel? How am I going to be? So this awareness meditation, breathing Zen meditation, is super important to me. I have a family, and us every day meditating on how kind and loving we are to each other is super important for me. We're creating ourself. It started with my wife and my wedding vows, but now we do it as a family. We promise to always care for each other and always be there for each other. And we imagine ourselves as world-saving superheroes. We train ourselves to be happy and awesome. There was a chapter in my life where I would do laughter meditation every day, and I was definitely at the point where every day I was imagining a world where the whole planet was in bliss and just swimming in the ecstasy of 8 billion people being as happy as possible. While that's not a practice I do every day now, it's definitely still part of how I think about life, and I love to do a happiness meditation every few days. Every day I spend some time practicing the things that are important for me at the time, whether that's some change I want to have towards my spare time, or something about how I exercise, or I'll give examples. Perhaps you want to enjoy school more, or perhaps you want to be braver around different kinds of people. Maybe you want to have more fun at parties. Maybe you'd like to be more assertive at work. Maybe you'd like to, when you think about creating art, think of beautiful art and be confident in your art. I hope everyone could imagine, if you were to train your mind with anything, you can apply that to every part of your life. And just to wrap that up, kind of the icing on the sauce of the icing on the cake for the topic for today is I don't want to just say, hey mindfulness, hey kindness, hey practicing goodness. I want to wrap it into this idea. Think of yourself as a champion of positivity, or someone who's on the path towards becoming one of those champions, or someone who helps other people around you also become more peaceful and happy and wise. And think about how you could bring it into your culture, into your sense of self. It's not just some activity you do sometime. It's like part of how you live. All right. So next, I just want to hear what anyone has to say or ask, and I'm going to go from there. Fluffy Puppy?
Yeah. You know,
ever since I had came here last week, things had changed for me. Ever since I had started coming here for meditation and practicing my breathing, and it really turned tables for me. I felt more focused and more like I couldn't just sit there and just do nothing. Like when I go back to school, I can actually feel myself concentrating. I can feel myself like become more into what I need to do. Like, no, I can't do this. I gotta do this. No, I can't do this. You gotta concentrate. I can hear myself become a little bit more focused. I feel that. And ever since that had happened last week, it feels amazing. Thank you. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you so much for sharing, Fluffy Puppy. Something I found as I go to describe how helpful it's been to watch my mind is sometimes when I put it into words, like how good it's felt or how helpful it's been, the words don't really do it justice. And I'm guessing from the way I heard you trying to express it that that it's been helpful in so many ways. And I'm so glad that it's...
Yeah, actions speak louder than words.
Yeah. And so Fluffy Puppy came last week, and in 1 week they've seen all these transformations. So everybody who's new here, I hope you could imagine this week really giving each moment some love and some positivity and watching your thoughts and creating peace and positivity just to make your moments better, to make the hard moments easier and to make the good moments more awesome.
Okay, Mom. I'll be there in a second.
To make the talks with your mum more loving and kind. To make the talks with your friends more exciting and fun. To make your chuckles and
No, I don't have
enjoyment
any.
richer and funner. We can truly in each moment bring some more beauty, some more kindness, some more peace to everything. So, Fox, you asked what kind of meditation are we going to do? I think what I just said has inspired our first meditation. I know Viking asked about Zen meditation, but we're going to do a slight variation on that. So we're just going to let our minds rest. But with that idea that in each moment you can bring awareness to it. And I don't want us to just be aware. I want us to go with the idea I just said, that you can make each moment feel more peaceful, more joyful, more smiley, more kind. So what we're just going to do is just a short meditation. And so I invite everybody to just get comfortable. And
Comfy cozy.
it can be really helpful to check your body. By getting your body relaxed and centered, it also centers and calms your mind. So if you feel where you're sitting, I notice well, just lay back and relaxed. You can do that. Or perhaps you want to sit up really straight and feel your body feeling empowered and energized and calm and present. You can just feel your feet and your legs and take a deep breath and let them be peaceful. Feel your fingers and your hands and your arms and take a deep breath. And then we'll take 3 deep breaths where you feel your arms and your legs and your whole body. And each breath, just let your body feel more at peace.
Stop talking.
And I just invite you that if you hear any other noises or if you notice any other thoughts, just decide this time just for you. You're just going to keep coming back to yourself. And so now as you keep breathing, I just want you to appreciate the way you relax your body, or appreciate the calm feeling of each breath. And many of you will notice that over a few breaths, it feels more calm, or it feels even nicer. And it's kind of exciting and kind of beautiful that in just a few breaths you can shift how you feel. So as you keep watching your mind, just let yourself feel good. Maybe take happy breaths, or breaths that feel very full of ease. Maybe you could imagine that you're practicing that for this whole week, your good moments will feel happier, other moments will feel easier. Healthy food will be more delicious. Beautiful scenery will be brighter. When you want to dance, you'll feel more alive. When you're with people, you'll feel kinder and more confident. Just breathe and imagine filling your whole life, your whole self up with whatever good feelings your imagination carries you into. And then notice your mind right now and see that in every moment, all you have is your consciousness. Just notice right now, this is your mind. This is you being you. And how precious it is. You can choose where to focus. You can choose what feeling you want to bring into each moment. I see one of you dancing to that idea. Maybe some of you want to be feeling strong and empowered in that noticing your consciousness. Maybe some of you want to be feeling profoundly peaceful and transformed in that moment. Some of you might feel a deep love for yourself as you watch your mind. So just for one more minute, watch every moment of your consciousness. See the beauty of it. And then as we begin to wrap up this little meditation, I just invite you to imagine that every moment of your life you could be doing this meditation, noticing your mind and intentionally bringing a good feeling into each breath. Intentionally choosing how you want to think, how you want to feel. And if you're still in the meditation, let's all have a stretch and a smile. But even as you do that, even as you start to energize and re-power your consciousness and move your attention around, keep noticing your attention. Notice where you look. Notice where you think. And I hope you try and bring fresh eyes to each moment, to be more aware and more empowered. Queen Dragon, we just finished a little meditation about watching our consciousness and bringing positive feelings, ease, kindness, smiles into each moment. So
I didn't mean to miss all of that. I'm sorry. I just had to do something for my mother. I didn't mean to walk out on class like this.
It's totally okay. I'm sure your mama needs you, and I'm sure that practicing kindness in real life is great. So just while we're still a little bit in that meditative state of mind, I see some of you shining out love hearts from your character. I would love to hear if any of you feel inspired. Wait, I've got to put that on the camera, you guys. I'm just sending out the love hearts. Love Heart Fest, everybody.
Yes, Love Heart Fest.
Beautiful. So yeah, I'd love to hear if anyone feels like they just want to share the nice feeling.
Oops, wrong one. My bad.
that they just experienced.
Don't worry about that one. Yeah, don't worry about that one.
Or maybe you also had an insight. Maybe you're like, oh wow, when I think like that, I could actually think like this. Or maybe you noticed how you could use your mind differently. Or yeah, I just would love people to share whatever you'd like from that little meditation. Tess?
I felt basic when I closed my eyes, that I was feeling the love and attention that I got from everyone, but not also that. I felt that I was saying a lot better about meditating because it helps me a lot, but I've also done it a lot of times. But what I did notice was a lot of joy and happiness and a lot of, everything. And when I started meditating, I didn't know the side effects. And I think a lot of people have to know that meditating is also for the mind and the brain. And of course, it helps with stress, it helps with anxiety, it helps with depression. It helps all kinds of things, and it really makes a difference. Because to me, I know I've had a lot of stress, a lot of anger, sadness, and just happiness. But when I meditated, I just closed my eyes for a minute, and I looked at what I was feeling and how some things are able to cheer me up. And I think that's a really good thing because a lot of people don't get it these days, and it's just a really good factor of some things because no matter how you're feeling, you can always grow up to it. You could always be happy about things. You could always, get stronger from it. And I just think meditation is the best, and I would suggest it to everyone because I've done it a few times, and I know a lot of people haven't done this before, but it is cool to meditate, and it definitely gets rid of the stress. I've done it about a few times with people, and yeah, I think those thoughts are, like a lot more good, because sometimes it's all out good thoughts, or, you're mentally trying to focus on what's bad, but then once you meditate, and you feel like there's like when you breathe, you could feel a spirit coming on you, and then it's like someone's like there. And it really is, because it's the good side effects of things, so I love it. And it really helped me, and I think that's a good thing.
Thanks so much for sharing, Tess. And I love that you love it.
You're
and
welcome.
that you're not just that it's helped you, but you're like a champion of sharing that. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to point out that you said that you found some joy in the meditation.
Yeah.
People might have noticed as I was describing it, I said, hey, we're going to take some time to maybe you'll smile or maybe you'll find ease. And I kind of put these positive ideas in the room or in our minds. And you might find, hey, I want to guide some meditation for someone. And you say, hey, sit there and breathe. And you've had this amazing time. And afterwards they could say, well, that was boring. So it's not just
I would
the
have a
active...
suggestion for them.
Pardon?
Remember that sometimes things do get boring, but once you meditate, you'll feel a whole lot better. And it does take a load out of you, but you will feel better, and you'll get stronger from that. And it's just releasing the things from what you're feeling. So it's like energy, but all those things will be better if you meditate.
Awesome.
And that's the good part.
So,
Yeah.
actually, the point I was trying to make was like the way we describe the meditation is super helpful. So if Tess says to their friends, hey, when you meditate, the worries will disappear and it will make this peace, then when their friends sit and meditate, they'll find themselves creating this, hey, the worries are disappearing and I'm finding peace. And I said to us, hey, maybe you'll find joy and maybe you'll find ease. And more of us would find that. Now, I know you could say that in the schools where they say just sit and breathe, sometimes people find infinite happiness inside themselves. It arises within. And that's definitely true. In the deep peace, when you get really into awareness, there's amazingly good things inside us. But also, as we start to sit and as we describe it to other people, the way we think about or talk about going into it really makes a difference. So if you're going to guide a meditation for someone else, if you say, hey, we're going to breathe and you'll find ease and you'll feel happiness, or when you start to notice your mind, that'll feel really interesting and really good. Like the way you describe it shapes the way that other people do it. And for those of you who are more experienced meditators, I also encourage you to look at how you describe the meditation to yourself. Even if you're just Zen meditation, just breathing, I guarantee there is also some thoughts you have around what's your mind going to do when you just breathe. So watch that and be amazed that your consciousness goes where you've directed it. And for everybody, I also encourage you as you sit to meditate, that might have been a nice, easeful, happy meditation. If you go and do it tomorrow, that might automatically happen, but maybe not. So I encourage you to be like, okay, I'm going to spend a couple minutes, and this couple of minutes I'm going to have a little smile, think about ease while I breathe and settle into that smile and ease. Or if you're going to do the meditation where it's just stillness and watch the mind, I'd still encourage you that like as you're going into that stillness, that you're going to make it beautiful. And if you start noticing lots of things in your mind, that's going to be amazing and interesting, and you're going to come back to the breath in a way that feels strong and awesome. Like the way you describe the meditation to yourself really shapes what happens. Fox.
All I want to say is just like thank you, because every time I have done meditation or anything calming, I've always been either stressed or upset, and every time that I've done it, it's always like helped or calmed me down. So I just feel like this is one of the best ways to just calm everything down and make all of your worries go away and not be as stressed.
Thank you, Fox. Hey, I want to tie what Fox just said back into the theme of today. So, when Fox was stressed, they meditated and calmed them down, and they found this peace. And that's nice. It's really good. Especially if you know anyone, or if you remember some time where you were caught up in stress or upset and you didn't know the way out of it. Like then when you think about being able to find peace or joy, how amazing, how beautiful, how great that is. And so if I go back to the theme of today of like, what's our culture? It's not just that we can find peace. We can make ourselves so much more loving. We can make it that in all different situations, we're more awesome. You can make yourself better at stuff by practicing being better at sport, better at art, better at math. Like the way you practice in your mind shapes who you are. And if you think of, you know, it's nice that Fox brought themselves peace. That's beautiful. Now, if you imagine if everybody was practicing good feelings, how much more good feelings and peace and kindness and patience could just be everywhere. Like it's beautiful how good we could all get.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would encourage you to be excited to explore how good you could practice. And not just how you feel, but in all the things you want to be in life. And as we all do it and help others do it, we're making your circle of friends, your family, your community more empowered and more awesome. So thanks, Fox. Viking, I feel like you're excited to share a thought.
Yeah, I actually, when you meditate in a group, because there's like a group mind, because if it creates an environment, and especially if it's in a temple, because it creates there's a certain energy here. The energy is of meditating. So if you're doing it in a temple or a meditation place or some place where meditation happens often, and then there's a group of people, that makes it easier to meditate because all those minds are doing the same thing. So if minds are doing a certain thing, other minds have a tendency to end up moving towards that energy too. So it's also good to meditate on your own, but if you come to like a meditation place and do it in a group, that makes it easier and more powerful.
Totally. I have some very skeptical science friends, and I want to translate the word energy to something that they might relate to. In our brains, there's all kinds of neurons, and some of the neurons are called mirror neurons. It's like what you see, a part of you copies it. It's how when you go and train with a sports team, if you're with a lot of good players, you'll find yourself automatically doing more skillful things. If you hang out with people who laugh a lot, you'll find yourself laughing more. We do have this tendency to automatically feel part of the group we're around. And yes, sometimes you can interrupt that and like kind of do the opposite. If you're like, oh, everyone's laughing and I'm not funny, you can kind of like cut off of that. But the mirror neurons have this tendency to go with what's going around you. So yeah,
That's
sitting
the
with
basis of culture. And you were talking about culture. That's the basis of culture. The fact that a bunch of people are doing similar things. In the fact that people have a tendency to copy one another, what one another is doing. That's what creates cultures.
100%. So yeah, the collective mind, like it's neurological. Our brains do that. And then the energy or the vibe of this place, you could also think about it in terms of our brains. We've learned that this place is the kind of place that's for meditation. So it feels like a meditation place. Like a classroom feels like a classroom, or a dance floor, if you like dancing, feels like a dance place. And if you don't like dancing, it feels like so our minds learn these different things. And so when you go to a place that's got a certain thing, it makes it easier to do that thing. If you're with a group that does a certain thing, it makes it easier. And it's not just this place. You can also set up like mental places. If your friends all sit in a circle cross-legged and bow to each other, it kind of sets up the place in your mind of like, hey, we're all going to meditate together now. Or if you put out cushions and you're like, hey, these cushions, this is meditation time. Or if you and your friends like to take a happy breath before a meal, like the start of a meal could like trigger like, happy breath. Like you can shape these spaces into your life and into your lifestyle. Queen, you've had your hand up a bunch. Thanks for your patience. What did you want to ask or share?
It's actually a question and probably on that, but I do hold off my anger, but I don't laugh as much. But how do I release the my laughter, like release my anger and stuff? Like I want to laugh more instead of me holding up the anger.
All right, so I definitely would think of that as two questions. One is, how will we laugh more? And one is, what to do with anger? So,
what the fuck is this?
So let me just talk to Unknown for a second. Hey, Unknown, we're talking about how to like train our mind and train our feelings, and we're live streaming it, so you're welcome to join in. We're like learning how to be like happier. Queen's just asked, how do you like deal with anger and how do you laugh more? And we were just talking about how to be more peaceful and just how to live better, to be the master of your own mind. So Queen, back to your question. Anger. Well, there's many things we can do that can help with anger. One is practicing peace. And you get into a feeling when you're really peaceful. And then when you're in that peaceful feeling, you can then imagine how you'd like to respond to those people or those situations. But you know, if someone's being rude or mean, you don't want to just like let them do it. So maybe like anger's the only reaction you had that's more helpful than letting them just push you around.
I do. I can't.
So
I just can't hold back my anger and not get in trouble and grounded and stuff like that.
So another thing you can do is you get into peace or into breathing and stillness, and then you ask yourself, what would be an awesome response? How could I speak to them in a way that I am super strong and they hear it, and then they have to think about what I've said? Or another thing you could do is think, well, is there any way that maybe I don't need those people in my life? Maybe I'll just go around people that make me happy. Another practice that people have found super helpful for anger is kindness meditation. So you start with your best friends and your favorite family members, and for a week, every day, you spend 5 or 10 minutes just loving them. And after doing that every day, a week later, you'll be like, wow, I'm feeling a lot more love and kindness to them. And then the week after, you think about all your friends and acquaintances, and you just, hey, I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to be kind. I want a world where people are good to each other. And I'm practicing being that. And 5-10 minutes every day, just sending good vibes out to all of those people, you'll feel strong and beautiful and powerful. And then a week later, you're sending it out to all the world except for the people who deserve your anger. And then you're like, oh yeah, I can actually feel kindness to the whole world. And then once you've got this big, beautiful kindness inside of you, then you look at the people that you're angry about, and this big, kind, loving, strong self is bigger than all the anger. What might seem like this now, compare it to this epic kindness you've created. You then look at that and you're like, oh yeah, all right, I'm going to respond as this wise, wonderful being that helps them be better people and gives me a good outcome too. And, you know, I did just mention meditating on this every day for a whole month, which is a pretty epic practice, and it does have an epic response. There's more I could say. I could talk about watching very closely what your thoughts are. What are the expectations you have from those people? And those expectations don't match who they are, so the mismatch is causing anger. What are the thoughts you have around the situation? And what could you engineer in the way you think that would make you the winner and the awesome outcome for everybody in that situation? We could talk about we could talk about watching your mind as you go through those situations and just bringing your best self into every second. Like, there's so much you could do. And I hope of the things I just shared, you take a bit of time to just feel, yes, I'm going to bring all of those ideas and the practices that sounded good. You're going to practice kindness meditation, or you're going to practice how you'll respond to them in a way that's awesome for you. And
Thanks.
when you do that and they're still assholes and you still get angry, that's okay. Just try again, and you'll find that you just get better and better. So I used to be super angry. I had been teased and bullied for ages, and I started doing love and kindness meditation, and towards most of it, I made this big epic love ball, and then I was able to just fill every part of me up with love. But there were still some buttons that I found people push that I'd get angry at. And let's say I was like 99% better, and then I was at a party where there was some violence, and I found myself get angry, and I was like, oh, okay, I've noticed there's that button. And I poured love on like that button. I was like, okay, when that happens, I go in, I'm a peacemaker. And then like, okay, so that's 99.9% of the anger transformed into peace and power. And then I noticed another button that was rarer, and I transformed that. And then I noticed another button that was rarer, and I transformed that. And then I got to the point where there's basically no more anger buttons anymore. So there's some ideas to practice for anger. And now, as for laughter, one of the easy answers is to hang out with some friends who laugh more and just kind of let yourself chuckle along. Other things you can do is to put a smile on your face. Oh, you see, it just works. Some people chuckled, and then I heard you chuckle. Just the idea of like, hey, we're gonna laugh. Just like,
Hang out with Tess. She laughs a lot.
yeah.
Tess is very jolly. Hang out with her.
I'm friends with Tess. I'm friends with
Yeah,
her
hang out with
anyway.
Tess.
Yep. She does.
So absolutely.
I wanted to say, if anyone wants to friend me at all, I mean, I'm up for friends because I don't usually have a lot, because me and people I've been dealing with a lot. So if you do want to add me at any time, you totally can. I'd love to have some more friends.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tess. So yeah, you saw that there was just
You're
suddenly
welcome.
this explosion of happiness in the room. So the more you give yourself the idea of like, hey, I'm going to let the laugh happen, I'll be around more laughs, the more it just happens. See, I said it again and they're laughing again. Like the power of positive suggestions.
No,
Yeah.
Blakey, Blakey, come here.
And you can also combine that with meditation. So you spend a bit of time breathing and focusing on a little smile, a little joy, and just let it grow and let it grow. And then see, they'll start giggling just because the idea of getting happier and happier. And it might take you days or it might take you minutes, but you absolutely can grow the happiness. I got to a point when I was doing this happiness meditation every day, I'd walk down the street and I'd put this big smile on my face. And I'd just imagine that everybody who saw me just felt my happiness. And then I'd smile at someone and get this big smile back. And then that made me even happier. So as I'd walk along, I was doing this meditation where I'd get happier and happier, and then other people would get happier. And so it's like this cycle of joy that I could create. So Queen, you can absolutely go and explore that. Try these things and grow that in yourself. And pretty soon you'll be thinking of yourself as someone who's peace and compassionate, who loves to chuckle, who creates joy. And yeah, you just practice it. It becomes part of who you are. Hey Fox, you got a question or a comment?
I think you can do it. I have a question. So, it's to add on to what you said in the beginning of what Queen said. You said that one of the best ways to deal with anger is like happy meditation. Is there always going to be like certain meditations for you to do for certain things? Like if you're stressed or if you're anxious, is there certain meditations for all of them?
That's a great question. There are some schools of meditation where they will say, yes, our master said, this situation, you do that meditation. I don't think of it like that. Yes, as a team, we could probably come up with things that will be helpful. Any situation, there'll be things that are good for it. But you know, maybe for you, the perfect response to being angry would be an hour of the most intense wild laughter meditation ever. But maybe for Queen, like that would be just too wild today, and they'd be better with a little smile chuckle meditation this week, and the intense epic laughter meditation is next week. And maybe someone else would say laughter in the face of anger. That sucks. And maybe for that person, they doing a little bit of peaceful meditation would be helpful. Or maybe for a hyper analytical person, changing their feelings is useless. They need to watch what are the thoughts they have about that person and really look closely and be like, oh, I am thinking this and expecting that. And this is what the reality is. So this is the thought that's more accurate.
So that's
that will
more
help me
insight
more.
insight meditation? That style is insight meditation?
Some people call it that. You might notice I kind of avoid boxes and labels because I've been in so many different places and there's so many overlaps between which thing is which.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
there's many styles of Buddhism, many different forms and styles of Buddhism.
Totally. And what I just said could also come under like cognitive behavioral therapy, or it could also come under self-instructions and affirmations. Like many
all that
different
overlaps
bits of,
though.
Absolutely. There's all these overlaps in human culture, and I'm more about like find the little tidbits that work and make your own toolkit to be awesome. Because I want every human to be able to share all the best stuff they have. So Viking mentioned insight meditation, and I mentioned before kinds of meditation that I love: watching the breath, kindness meditation, relaxation meditation. There are also lots of ways you can watch your mind and engineer them. I mentioned just practice being awesome, and to me, that is kind of the encompassing thing around transforming your mind. In insight meditation, there are ideas of noticing what your expectations are, noticing what your attachments are, noticing what you crave or what you have aversion to. But they're like very Buddhist lenses. There are lots of lenses through which you can look at things. And I want us to just free our minds to be able to always ask, what would be the most awesome way of looking at this thing? What way could I think that'd be great? And also let me look really carefully, what am I thinking now? What are the reactions to those thoughts? Okay, I'm going to step out of that. Is there anything good from that I want to take with me? And I'm just going to pick the best way to be. Imagine if in every part of you, every part of your life, you just did that. You just stepped out of all of your old habits and just like, I'm going to pick to be as awesome, brilliant, amazing as I can with every part of you. It's probably bigger than you can imagine. It's like months of work. But think about it. You could be super strong and confident and better at all the different things you want to do. And maybe your values and goals would change, that you want to like help people more, or create something that changes the world, or get super rich so you're powerful to do good. Like, really what I want to give you all is just supercharging your own mind in whatever things you think are important. Fox, you got a question?
Yeah, so if you do meditation every day and you become extremely happy and more calm, but you can feel that people around you and people in your household and your friends and everyone, you love them, but it just feels like your house and them have a bad vibe. What are you supposed to do about that?
That
That's a good
is
one.
such a beautiful question, and I can really relate. So thanks for asking. And
Can I
keeping it
answer?
real.
Can I answer?
Please, Viking, yes.
If you create a very good vibe in yourself, you'll affect them, so their vibe will start to get better too. Maybe it won't get as good as yours, but it'll be like you'll pull them up. So that's part of why it's really good to be like practicing meditation, because you help to raise the vibe of the whole world, because the collective affects everybody. The more individuals, like meditate and work on themselves, the more they help to affect everyone else in a more positive direction. So it's kind of like working on yourself is the greatest thing you can do, the most kind thing you can do, because it helps everybody else, even if it's a small amount. There's a lot of people that do it, so then it becomes, it can become like a huge effect upon the planet if a lot of people are meditating and
Viking, that's an
practicing,
awesome answer.
spiritual practices.
I'm so glad you said that first, because it's definitely true. And it kind of prefaces what I was going to say. That perhaps you've gotten to this state of like bliss and awe, and like compared to where you're at, the help you give them, you might not even notice. They might still be caught up in so much pain and angst. And you're like, hey guys, I want you to get enlightened. And it seems like they're not. Reminding yourself that you are bringing them peace and helping them is awesome.
Yeah.
But that might not be a
Buddhist communicator.
Pardon?
Like a small Buddhist communicator in their own family setting.
Totally. I'm gonna get to that. So part of what we do next is there's two things. Is ask yourself, do I want to create a culture that includes them? Do I want to introduce meditations with them? Or do I want to sing songs that have some wise ideas with them? Or do I want to tell them stories that have been really helpful for me? There's this idea in some meditation schools of skillful means, trying to find the way of sharing that'll reach different people. And every person's going to be reached in different ways. So you could take it on as like a game. How do I find the positive impact that I want to have?
Can I answer that question?
Sure.
Sometimes we all think that being different is not good enough. Or probably there's some day where we think that life is bad, but I take it personally. I think personally, you have strength to grow up in yourself, and you have all the strengths that you have. If you don't have those strengths, you're not going to live. So like to keep trying and focusing more on yourself and more on everything else, you're going to be fine no matter what. And sometimes things do happen, but you're going to get through things. And once you get through those things, once you get through those battles, you'll find yourself happy again. And it makes things a whole lot easier and a whole lot better.
If I was
And
to
it
try and-
especially makes things good.
Can you try and like sum that up? Because it sounded like there's a lot of good feelings there. Were you saying about like being patient with it and knowing?
Being patient is one of the ultimate things you have to take. If you don't patience, you don't have yourself, you don't patience.
Yes.
I'd say go out there, you have patience, and keep doing what you want to do. Don't let people stop you, don't let them bully you, don't let them hate you, and just keep being yourself. If people are mean, just get rid of them. They don't matter. Plus,
Well-
me and Logan dealt with Galactic Kitty. Plus, we both have same things.
I mean,
But I'd say
everybody
keep
matters.
going for your dreams. Don't give up and keep going. And never give up. There's always good
Tess.
things.
Yeah, definitely encouraging yourself and keeping perspective and
Tess.
patience is helpful.
Good job.
So Fox, I can really relate to what you said. So, two other things I'd want to share is watching your expectation. If you expect them to get a certain level of transformation and positive cultivation, that can upset you. That's not helpful. So really seeing them as they are. Seeing the people who are really there in front of you. Relating to them as the person that's inside there. Now, another thing that I can see, I had a very similar thing with my whole extended family. I was hoping that we'd become this team of world-saving superheroes, and I couldn't believe that they weren't interested. And it was actually one of the very few things that caused me any upset in my life.
Yeah.
And I've realized later that actually I mentioned it to them all a few times, but only a few times. Maybe they didn't even realize. Maybe they thought it was just like a passing interest. Or maybe they saw that I'd suddenly started making healthy choices and they're like, I don't want to like stop doing this unhealthy thing. And they like shut off to all the other stuff that I could have helped them with. So I really think that I could have set up a temple for them. I could have made some enlightenment games. I could have put on a class. I could have made a video just for my family. I could have written a song for them. There's so many things I could have done to give them a chance to be interested. Every now and then I'd work up the bravery to ask them again, and it would get kind of shut down. But I wasn't asking like really skillfully. It's kind of just like poking the same unanswered hole. And yeah, every now and then I hear from them the same thing Viking said, that I was a positive influence. But it's like a drop in the ocean of what I would have liked. So I can really relate. Like, you can do amazing things in yourself when you're doing it consciously. And if the people you love aren't consciously engaging, yeah, it can be very different.
Oh crap.
So Fox?
Never mind.
So yeah, I guess my hope for everybody is that we always stay patient and loving, and you always give people a chance to hear the different perspectives, try different things, try You know, if talking about something doesn't help, try singing about it, or playing a game about it, or take them up on top of a mountain and tell them a story about the temple you go to, and ask to show them. And they're up on a mountain, so maybe they won't just shrug it off like they do in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Give them
mountains are
chances to
powerful
try
for
different
spiritual
I
awareness.
have-
Fox?
I have to leave.
Okay,
Okay.
I have a question.
Wait,
Or,
before Fox goes, I hope
can
it
you-
wasn't anything that we said, and we'd love to have you back again. Thanks for all your input and wonderful questions today. And we wish you peace and happiness.
You're welcome.
And say hi to your
Thank
family
you.
from all of us.
It's cause. Okay.
Maybe you could share this video with them. Viking?
Okay, I have a question. Can you please explain the meditation method used in Pure Land Buddhism?
So I haven't meditated with Pure Land. I have spent time around them, and I love that they emphasize an enlightened planet. I totally relate to that. That's about as much as I know about Pure Land Buddhism. If
Okay,
you know, I'd love
can
you to
tell.
share it with the crowd. Yeah, please.
So another form of meditation that can be really for people that have difficulties keeping their mind focused in other ways. One form that's really effective and helpful is mantra meditation. So they'll like chant a mantra. And in Pure Land Buddhism, they chant the mantra is like the name of that particular Buddha, which is Amitabha Buddha. That's a particular because there's many different Buddhas, but that's the Buddha for Pure Land Buddhism. But all the Buddhas are still one Buddha, but they focus on Amitabha Buddha, so they chant his names, and that helps to focus. They focus the mind on that, and then like if they're chanting that, then they put their mind into the energy of that Buddha. So then there's kind of like two aspects to the Pure Land. There's one aspect where they're trying to go to the enlightened planet after they die. The other aspect is this is like the Zen of Pure Land. It's like the inner esoteric aspect where when you're chanting, you're actually in the Pure Land because it's a state of consciousness, like the vibration. So like you're chanting that in that meditative state when you're invoking the energies of Amitabha by chanting his names, then you feel that Pure Land, you're like there for those times. So then you connect to the Pure Land in that way too. So you don't have to die to go there either. You can just be there in the moments and then you learn more and more to be in that place, by like meditating on Amitabha. Yeah.
I'd love to respond. So I definitely don't want to teach anything about what happens after we pass away. As far as I can tell, our bodies just die. So when different spiritual groups talk about that, I don't believe it. I mean, you can also see it metaphorically.
Okay.
Like next year, when this chapter of my life is gone, I'll be in a more enlightened chapter.
Yeah.
That's great. But actually, before I just wanted to clarify that in this group, I definitely don't want anyone to think, oh, you have to believe this or believe that. This group is for everybody,
you don't have to
regardless
believe
of your
anything.
beliefs. Yeah. And then a few more things I wanted to respond is singing meditation can be great. I had times where I would sing Om Shanti, which is like infinite peace, and it's beautiful. And I had some times where I would chant Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, which is like creating a world where everyone is practicing
Those are all
happiness
mantras.
and kindness. I also had some
all
time
that's mantras.
where I'd be singing songs that some group had said was important, and later I found out that it was actually the name of a warmonger who had tricked people into slaughtering other people thousands of years ago, and they still chant the person's name.
Dang.
And so when it comes to chanting, I would always encourage people to just like be careful if like the thing you're singing is actually something really beautiful. And also, I mentioned different kinds of meditation. Singing about an enlightened being where the whole world becomes peace and lovely, is beautiful. It's great. I think everyone would agree that's kind of nice. Maybe the people who think, oh, you shouldn't worship anybody, they might have an issue with it. But still, the idea of like someone who's super happy and like soaking up all that is pretty good. However, the practice of learning to guide every part of your mind and finding this like deep stillness and being able to watch the nuance of every thought, you're not going to get that in a singing meditation. But breathing meditation and deep stillness, you're probably also not going to get the kind of bliss that you'd get from some of the songs. The different practices have different results. And I got a funny story about Amitabha. I lived in China for a while, and I spent a lot of time going to some of the temples there. And
that's the most popular form of Buddhism there too, in China.
So I didn't
other parts of Asia.
I didn't realize that at the time, and so I did kindness meditation, and I decided I wanted to be kind to everybody, including all of the animals. So I decided I didn't want to like kill any more animals, so I stopped eating animals, and then a little while later I learned about all the suffering we do in other industries. So I decided to stop eating all the products where we do things to the animals. I just wanted to not hurt them anymore. I didn't want to like take things away from their mums. Anyway, so I'm at these Chinese temples, and all of the Buddhas, the little Buddha statues, are sitting there chanting "Yummy tofu, yummy tofu, yummy tofu." And I was like, oh wow, these guys really care about vegetarianism. And they are all vegetarians, so I thought, oh yeah, cool, yeah.
You thought it was tofu.
Yeah.
And then I found out later.
That's Chinese for Buddha. That's Chinese for Buddha.
Yummy tofu.
Amitabha in Chinese
Tofu.
is yummy tofu or amitofu.
Fo.
Amitabha,
Fo is
amitofu.
is a Chinese word for Buddha.
Yeah.
You are too.
What?
Yeah. Fo is the Chinese word for Buddha.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. After
So-
spending months in the temples singing about tofu, I realized we were talking
You didn't
about one
even
of the
know.
enlightened beings. Yeah. Queen, you got a question or a comment?
Because they call themselves vegans. They call themselves vegans if they don't eat meat.
Yeah, I identify as a vegan. Yeah.
I'm a vegan too.
Awesome. So actually,
Full
a vegan
respect.
is someone, well, a vegetarian is someone who doesn't kill anything, and a vegan is someone who tries to not kill anything, but also not hurt anything.
Yeah, because vegans and vegetarians are not the same. I mean, they do eat vegetables, but nah.
Yeah.
They only-
But all
Right.
vegans are vegetarians. But not all vegetarians are vegans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like,
Anyway,
they
that's
don't
a
eat
topic for
tofu.
another
I
day,
like that.
maybe.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Logan, you got a question or a comment?
And actually,
Yes, I would. How long have you been living in China?
No,
I was
they don't
only
just
there
eat tofu.
for like 7 months.
they eat
Oh, okay.
avocados.
Wow, nice.
Hi. They eat avocados.
Guys, I don't want
Avocados are
today's
plants.
topic to be about diet.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see. We were talking
And
about
spirulina. You gotta have some spirulina. And you gotta have some nutritional yeast for the B12.
it's true. It's useful to eat that.
um
I'm a nutritionist.
like water.
I'm a nutritionist.
I heard this you are not.
all right. So I feel like it's time for another meditation in a moment, but I also feel like Solar Punk
Okay.
had something to contribute.
Oh, I didn't actually have much to contribute. I'm just having a good time over here vibing.
All right. So everybody, let's just take a couple deep
But,
breaths and think about having a good time vibing. If you want to chuckle while you think of that, or if you want to just feel the good feeling.
I will also add that the Chinese Buddhism is called Chan Buddhism, which is quite different from Theravada and Tibetan and Zen.
Good point. And in fact, the word Zen is the Japanese version of the word Chan.
Chan.
I love you.
I love you guys too.
I love you more.
All right.
Also,
Hi,
by
welcome.
the way, sorry about my mom coming in.
They're totally
just don't worry
welcome.
about that.
No. The more the merrier.
I just had to go to the washroom. But my mom's a nutritionist, but I wouldn't suggest it to anyone right now
if that
because
was your
this is
mum.
the Buddhism thing. So, yeah.
Hey, Big Daddy Wolves, come in, grab a seat. We're just about to start a meditation. Tess, do you want to grab a seat?
Your food, Tess, food and spirituality are together.
I know that.
They food and spirituality.
No, you don't have to
Yo,
tell
Solar,
your mom.
what's up, dude?
Hey, Schizo. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yeah, your mom's correct about food and spirituality being linked. Oh, she's going away?
She's on top of her mom.
Oh.
Too much knowledge for today's course, I'd imagine.
All right, let's dive into a
Knowledge
meditation.
is good.
Of all the different meditations that we've mentioned today and all the different practices, which one stands out to people? What would we like to do right now?
I would
I'm
definitely
always
like
up
to
for a
do
single
Pure
point
Land.
focus meditation. But
Oh,
you can go with
yeah.
Viking suggestion, if not single point focus.
Viking, I would like to guide the meditation, and I don't know enough about that style or that school, so I want me to contribute
Okay.
something. Yeah. Solarpunk, what did you ask?
Single point focus is always a favorite of mine because I thought it would be fun to mention that single point focus, mindfulness of your breath, is what what Buddhists believe the Buddha and his 1,000 plus monks who became enlightened. They believe all of these people used single point focus to become enlightened beings and to achieve all these jhana states that opened up parts of their mind. So I think that's pretty cool that single point focus can do all of that for you.
100%. The people hanging out with the Buddha also practiced kindness meditation. But yeah, as far as I know, the single-pointed meditation and the kindness meditation were the two dominant meditations that they did. Now, Solarpunk just mentioned jhana. If you're new to meditation or you're from different schools, you might not know what that word is. You can actually change your state of mind so much that your consciousness just changes completely. And there's different stages and types of that, and they'll call those stages jhanas or immersions, where your mind just is immersed in the meditation.
You can also call those altered states of consciousness.
Totally.
Because everything changes when you experience one of those. It was really amazing when I was able to experience the first, I believe, jhana state, where my whole body and all its aches and pains went away, and I was just floating here with just my consciousness. Just an amazing feeling while you're aware of everybody else in the room meditating with you. So,
Right.
jhana states are pretty
I
amazing.
have a question.
I want to respond to that first,
jhanas-
Viking. So you
Okay.
remember for our first meditation, I said, hey, think of ease and think of smiles. And then that kind of guided what we had. When people put out epic ideas, like your whole body disappearing and you're just floating in bliss, or this altered state of consciousness where your whole mind transforms, when we are exposed to these ideas, then they can also happen in our meditation. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Solarpunk.
Wow.
Viking, you had a comment or a question?
Yes, so are those jhanas, are they at all related to like jnana yoga? Even though they're different religions, but they're still, Eastern and like Hindu versus like, Buddhism, and Buddhism sprang from Hinduism, so there's, a lot of common stuff they borrow from one another.
I don't know the school of jnana yoga. But if it's different states of immersion, then absolutely, I'm sure they're related. Solarpunk said altered states of consciousness. I think a Buddhist scholar would probably tell you that the jhanas are particular kinds of altered states of consciousness. We could do a laughter meditation, and after laughing as hard as possible for an hour and imagining 1 billion times more happiness, I'm sure that would be an altered state of consciousness, but it would be different than the jhana altered state of consciousness. Some other things that people find in the jhana is while they try to focus on the breath, they get to a point where all the sounds and everything around them have disappeared, and all that exists is concentrating on their breath. And then perhaps some schools would describe a deeper state is you don't even think about concentrating on the breath. You are just concentrating on the breath. Everything else has disappeared. All of your thoughts have become unified, and your whole self is just in peace.
Right.
People experience while they're in that, this just complete letting go. Like, you can imagine if you tense up all your muscles and then you let go, like how nice it is to relax in comparison. You can imagine if all your worries, all your stresses, all your upsets, everything, you just let go of all of it. Like perfect peace. So yeah, let's do some breathing meditation inspired by that. So I invite everybody to get into a comfortable posture.
Yeah.
Just quickly scan your body. Feel your feet, your legs, where you're touching the seat or the cushion. Feel your spine. Maybe roll your back around a little bit, and then come to a place where you're sitting up nice and straight and feeling balanced and good. Do a little roll with your shoulders, maybe pull them back a little bit, sitting up dignified and alert. I invite you to close your eyes so that the whole meditation is just inside your own consciousness. And we're just setting the intention that we're going to keep our bodies still. We're going to keep our minds still. And just decide that if something starts to catch your attention, you're going to remind yourself of what it might be like if everything else disappeared. If you were just floating in infinite perfect peace. And then notice where the breath is coming in and out. For most of us, breathing through the nose is the way to go. And just find that one point in your nose where you can notice the breath the most. And you can also notice what your mind is doing. Whatever thoughts there are, whatever feelings you have. But just know that as you concentrate on the breath, all those other things will disappear, and you'll just become this concentration. And you can also notice, as well as the thoughts and where you concentrate, there's also being aware. Notice it in every moment you're awake. You exist. With each moment
Hey
of your
everybody,
existence,
what's going on?
as we step into the meditation, everybody's just focusing on the breath. It's just like a little vacation. If you're in the meditation, if you hear anything else, or if you think anything else, just deciding that I'm noticing my mind and I'm coming back to the breath, and I'm going to go even deeper into just being still on my breath. And as I leave us in longer silences, those of you who are going deeper into the meditation, you'll just be more completely immersed in every moment of the breathing. And now notice your consciousness. Are you on the breath? Thinking any words? And just imagine everything else stopping. Catch your whole attention more fully into just feeling the breath in and out of the nose. You can feel it, the temperature, the position, you can hear it. Notice every little moment. Try to hold yourself in feeling the breath. Every little moment, all the way in. Every little moment, all the way out. And especially at the start of every in-breath, make sure that you've caught your attention. And for the whole of the breath, try to hold your attention in each moment. And if you'd like to stay with just the traditional just breathing, that's okay. But if you'd like to, with each moment of the breath, you can infuse a feeling of ease, of inner joy. And then go back to just breathing and feel the ease and the joy in each moment of the breath. Notice that you're noticing your mind. Every moment, all you have is your mind, your consciousness. And when you can infuse whatever feeling into each moment, you are conscious. when you can watch closely every thought, every attitude. You are the master of your consciousness. So as you keep breathing and watching each moment of your consciousness, feel yourself mastering your consciousness in every moment as we breathe.
I have a thing to say.
Tess,
If
we're
anyone
meditating
is
right now.
friends with
Tess,
Oh.
can you hold it to the end of the meditation, please? So
Alright.
everybody notice your mind again and just come back into the breath. Maybe you notice how the words activated different parts of your mind. It's amazing that you're looking more carefully at what your consciousness feels like. And then you let everything be even more still.
I want to listen.
Tell to talk.
We'll have just a couple more minutes. Notice your mind right now and let everything that's there be still. Just pure breathing. Every second is deeper stillness. Experiment with how you concentrate on the breath. Find the way to get even more of you focused on the breath. And then you can let the concentration start to relax and just notice how you feel. Notice your state of mind. Appreciate the nice feelings that you practiced. Whatever piece that's now more part of you. Being more aware of your mind in every moment. More the master of your consciousness in every moment.